This is the Wikipedia page for Majestic 12. Welcome to WikiListen, the podcast where we read Wikipedia pages and provide commentary. I am Victor Varnado, KSN.
And I am Rachel Teichman, LMSW.
If you like sci-fi and conspiracy theories, this episode is for you. Majestic 12. Majestic 12, also known as MJ12, for short, is a purported organization that appears in UFO conspiracy theories. The organization is claimed to be the code name of an alleged secret committee of scientists, military leaders, and government officials formed in 1947 by an executive order by U.S. President Harry S. Truman to facilitate recovery and investigation of alien spacecraft. The concept originated in a series of supposedly leaked secret government documents first circulated by ufologists in 1984. That's right, ufologists. I hit that word first time through it. Upon examination, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, declared the documents to be completely bogus, and many ufologists consider them to be an elaborate hoax. Majestic 12 remains popular among some UFO conspiracy theorists, and the concept has appeared in popular culture, including television, film, and literature.
History. On May 31st, 1987, it was widely reported that the British ufologist Timothy Good claimed to be in possession of 1950s-era UFO documents. The documents purported to reveal a secret committee of 12, supposedly authorized by United States President Harry S. Truman in 1952, and explain how the crash of an alien spacecraft at Roswell in July 1947 had been concealed, how the recovered alien technology could be exploited, and how the United States should engage with extraterrestrial life in the future. According to researchers, ufologist Jamie Shandera had, in 1984, received an envelope containing film which, when developed, showed images of 8 pages of documents that appeared to be briefing papers describing Operation Majestic 12.
The concept of Majestic 12 emerged during a period in the 1980s when ufologists believed there had been a cover-up of the Roswell UFO incident and speculated some secretive upper tier of the United States government was responsible. Shandera and his ufologist colleagues, Stanton T. Friedman and Bill Moore, say they later received a series of anonymous messages that led them to find what has been called the Cutler Twining Memo in 1985 while searching declassified files in the National Archives, purporting to be written by President Eisenhower's assistant, Robert Cutler, to General Nathan F. Twining and containing a reference to Majestic 12, the memo is widely held to be a forgery, likely planted as part of a hoax. Historian Robert Goldberg wrote that the ufologist came to believe the story despite the documents being obviously planted to bolster the legitimacy of the briefing papers.
Claiming to be connected to the United States Air Force Office of Special Investigations, a man named Richard Doty told filmmaker Linda Moulton Howe that the MJ12 story was true and showed how unspecified documents purporting to prove the existence of small gray humanoid aliens originating from the Zeta Reticuli star system. Doty reportedly promised to supply Howe with film footage of UFOs and an interview with an alien being, although no footage ever materialized. That's pretty sad.
Soon, distrust and suspicion led to disagreements within the ufology community over the authenticity of the MJ12 documents, and Moore was accused of taking part in an elaborate hoax, while other ufologists and debunkers such as Philip J. Klass were accused of being disinformation agents.
Analysis. Klass's investigation of the MJ12 documents found that Robert Cutler was actually out of the country on the date he supposedly wrote the Cutler Twining Memo, and that the Truman signature was a pasted-on photocopy of a genuine signature, including accidental scratch marks from a memo that Truman wrote to Vannevar Bush on October 1st, 1947. Klass dismissed, that's a cool pun on his name, because Klass with a K. Anyway, Klass dismissed theories that the documents were part of a disinformation campaign as ridiculous, saying they contained numerous flaws that could never fool Soviet or Chinese intelligence. Other discrepancies noted by Klass included the use of a distinctive date format that matched one used in Moore's personal letters, and a conversation reported by Brad Sparks in which Moore confided that he was contemplating creating and releasing some hoax top secret documents in hopes that such bogus documents would encourage former military and intelligence officials who knew about the government's alleged UFO cover-up to break their oaths of secrecy.
The FBI began its own investigation of the supposed secret documents and quickly formed doubts as to their authenticity. The United States Air Force Office of Special Investigation stated that no such committee had ever been authorized or formed and that the documents were bogus. The FBI subsequently declared the MJ-12 documents to be completely bogus.
Later in 1996, a document called the MJ-12 Special Operations Manual circulated among ufologists. It is also widely considered to be a fake and a continuation of the MJ-12 myth.
Ufologists Linda Moulton Howe and Stanton T. Friedman believe the MJ-12 documents are authentic. Friedman examined the documents and has argued that the United States government has conspired to cover up knowledge of a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft.
According to journalist Howard Blum, the name Majestic 12 has been prefigured in the UFO community when Bill Moore asked National Enquirer reporter Bob Pratt in 1982 to collaborate on a novel called Majik 12. Because of this, Blum writes, Pratt had always been inclined to think the Majestic 12 documents a hoax.
Majik also spells magic 12, by the way. I think that was what they were going for.
Oh, that was like completely lost on me.
Yeah, I know you. I saw you. It was capital letters. I get it. Reading Wikipedia pages does something to you.
It does.
Scientific skeptic author Brian Dunning investigated the history of the subject and reported his findings in the 2016 Skeptoid podcast episode, The Secret History of Majestic 12. He cited ufologist Bill Moore's suspicion that rather than a hoax perpetrated by the UFO community, the papers were actually part of a disinformation campaign of the U.S. government meant to deflect attention from secret Air Force projects.
Alleged members. The following individuals were described in the Majestic 12 documents as designated members of Majestic 12. Lloyd Veal Berkner was an American physicist and engineer.
Detlev Wolf Bronk was a prominent American scientist, educator, and administrator.
Vannevar Bush was an American engineer, inventor, and science administrator.
James Vincent Forrestal was the last cabinet-level United States Secretary of the Navy and the first United States Secretary of Defense.
Gordon Gray was an American attorney and government official during the administrations of Harry Truman 1945 through 1953 and Dwight Eisenhower 1953 through 1961, associated with defense and national security.
Roscoe Henry Hillenkotter was the third director of the post-World War II United States Central Intelligence Group, CIG, the third director of Central Intelligence, DCI, and the first director of the Central Intelligence Agency created by the National Security Act of 1947.
Jerome Clark Hunsdaker was an American naval officer and aeronautical engineer born in Creston, Iowa, and educated at the U.S. Naval Academy and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Donald Howard Menzel was one of the first theoretical astronomers and astrophysicists in the United States.
Robert Miller Montague was a lieutenant general in the United States Army.
Sidney William Sewers was an American admiral and intelligence expert.
Nathan Farragut Twining was a United States Air Force general born in Monroe, Wisconsin.
And Hoyt Sanford Vandenberg was a United States Air Force general. All right, guys, those are all the people who were rumored to be in Majestic 12, but probably were not. Wiki listeners, I hope this has scratched your conspiracy itch for today.
Birds aren't real. Birds aren't real.
All right. I don't know what meme you're referring to.
The conspiracy theory that birds aren't real?
There's a conspiracy theory that birds aren't real?
Yes, birds aren't real.
This has been the Wikipedia page for Majestic 12.
Thanks for listening to WikiListen. You can find us at wikilisten.com and on all social media at WikiListen, except for Twitter, which is at wiki_listen.
If there's a particular Wikipedia page you'd like us to read, please let us know.